Kia ora, and welcome to this video tutorial on how to submit your ECE return via InfoCare platform. Just a word of warning, the ECE return questions and the information that the Ministry would like to capture is all controlled by them. InfoCare is merely the platform that you utilise to send them the data they require. For any questions regarding the data that the Ministry do want, please do contact them directly. Also refer to the pānui or bulletins that they have published. They are very comprehensive and they have lots of links to do with the ECE return and frequently asked question pages. All right, to get started in InfoCare, it's a matter of first understanding what the Ministry do require from you, but we also have handy hints and tips as we proceed. To submit, we want to go to our Reports menu, MOE Reports, ECE Return, and in brackets, Census. Please do ensure you are reading the information on screen. Now, this video tutorial is based on an ECE service, not a home base at this point. We will be covering that in another video. So it is asking you to please ensure that your recorded child attendance for the return week, which happens to be the 19th of June, is complete. All of your staff details are updated, and ensure that all children have been allocated an NSN. We also have a link to the Ministry's website here for further information. By default, the date will always be the census week. Please don't alter this. That is quite crucial. This is the date that the Ministry wished to capture. Now, when you do start your ECE return, you can back out at any point should you get called away for an emergency or just general running, day-to-day running of your ECE service. Your answers will be saved, therefore when you are ready to continue, you do not need to go back and re-enter all of that data again. However, if you do make a mistake and wish to start over, click the Start Again button, but when you first make or are ready to start your ECE return, you won't have the Start Again button. It will just be Continue or Cancel because no data has yet been entered. For the purposes of this video, some of our information has already been pre-populated. Hence, I can choose to start again, which will wipe the data previously selected, or continue to pick up where I left off from. So when I do click continue, it will take us through the series of all of the screens that you will also see at your end. The Ministry are asking, what are the wait times at your service? They wanting to know if a child was wanting to start today, how long would they have to wait to attend your service? Just remember when it says waiting today, it is for the week pertaining to census week. How long is it going to take for a child under 1? You do have a drop-down box of your selections. We have made all of our selections along the line, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, over 4. Click continue once you have made your selections. The next question that is being asked of your service is what teaching languages are spoken. The percentages must add up to 100% and need to be whole numbers. You don't need the percent symbol either. We have broken this particular service down into English, 65%, Māori, 25%, Afrikaans, 10%. If you did need to make a change here, we could make that 5% and select another language. Let's say Italian, and we can make that 5% and continue. Now this is the important part or the bulk of the ECE return data. Please do read this information. You are being asked to answer questions of any teaching staff who did work in your service since the last ECE return, and in other words, the last 12 months. Even if they have left your service, you are required to include them. You only need to include non-teaching staff, such as relievers as well, only if they worked census week. If they did not work census week, you do not need to include them in your return. So please do understand what the Ministry are being asked, are asking of you. And as I've said, please don't hesitate to go to their website, check the pānui and or the bulletin, where they do have a lot of the questions that you probably need answered in that forum. If you are still stuck, contact Eli direct, 0800 323 323. Okay, so we have actually already included some of these staff on our ECE return, and as we can see, I've still got to include a few more. Now I'm coming down to click on the name, and it does advise me click on the name to complete. So I'm going to select Matt Livingston. He's the next staff member in my list. Some of the information will be populated from the data that you do have back in the employee menu, such as gender, ethnicity, and age if you did populate the date of birth. So just remember, you are being asked, what activity did this staff member do return week? I'm going to say this person was engaged in the education and care of children. They can have more than one role. Don't hesitate to select whatever is applicable if they did have any addition to the one that you have selected. Click the continue button to proceed. And it is letting us know that this person is engaged in the education and care of children, which is what you selected in the screen prior. The ministry also determined that a person working in a role for 25 hours or more is considered a full-time employee. So as we come now down to the questions, we need to answer what is the highest qualification Matt has. I'm going to say that he has a graduate diploma level 7 in ECE teaching, or an E21. Come down to the ethnicities. Just remember this does come from the employee menu. However, if you didn't populate some of that or wish to add in other ethnicities, you can do so at this point. It's just a matter of clicking on the drop-down box and selecting from the list the ethnicity required. We then now need to answer some multi-choice questions. Does this person hold a current practicing certificate from Teaching Council? And it does categorise those. Your answer is yes. Simply click into that with your mouse. Are they paid for this role at your service? Yes. Are they permanently appointed? So for your your non-registered or your relieving teachers, in particular the relievers, if they work Census week, most likely you would be selecting no because they're not permanently appointed in that role. Is this a full-time role? Just remember that means they have worked more than 25 hours or more. In this case, my answer will be yes. Now we come down to the contact times. And again, this is really crucial to get correct and to understand. For the week of census, the ministry require contact times to be matching that of when the first child arrived at your service and when the last child left your service. You don't need to make changes in your staff timesheets. You can actually do it in the screen here. So what we have coming across the top here is the child's attendance or the children's attendance for census week. The first child arrived at 8 on Monday and left at 15:30, Tuesday 8 till 1600, and so on and so on. If the staff member we're working with, Matt, arrived at 7:30, he might have been doing non-contact and setup duties. You cannot record that he started at 7:30 in the screen. The reason or rationale, as we've said just a few minutes ago, the ministry require exact times to match that of your children's attendance. So in this case, I'm just going to type 8. So Matt may physically have come in at 7:30. That will be recorded on your staff timesheets, but for the purpose of census, we cannot say that he arrived at 7:30 because the ministry only require you to capture when the first child arrived and the contact hours of staff after that. Now you can tab. I'm also going to say 8. Now it could have been Wednesday that Matt was on late, so he started at 8:30. You'll notice that I'm not putting in the colon. You can shorten this, the same with the 8. I can just type the number 8. Thursday, he was also on late. Friday, again, he might have arrived at 7:30 to set up, but we can only record 8 as that is the time the first child arrived. Come down to the end time. And I'm going to say that Matt, he might have finished at 16:30. Again, I need to record 15:30. If he worked beyond 15:30, it has to match that of the time the child left the service, the last child. So here, Matt might have actually finished at 15:30. Today, 16, and on this particular day, he may also have left at 15:30. So if it's within this time frame, you can record exact. If it's outside of these times, you have to record exactly these times. We don't need to put any more start or end times. It's not sessional. He didn't go and leave and go and leave and go and leave. That's all we need to record. And then we come down to the bottom of the screen and it's now asking how many hours did he work during return week. So this is where you can round it up to the entire hours that he worked that week. Above, we haven't recorded 40 hours. We've just recorded the contact times, but he may have been contracted to work that entire week, which is 40 hours. We need to select the band or the age band. Now currently it's letting us know that Matt is 41 years old. So we need to select that band from the drop-down box. This will populate if you've put the birth date for this employee in the employee menu. If you don't have the birth date, you'll just need to select and you'll have to obviously look at your staff folder in order to work out the age. Now, the ministry are also now asking, provide the age group of the children this staff member mostly worked with for census week. So mostly, they might have been with under twos on Monday, but the rest of the week over twos. So our most age group, or the common age group that he worked with during census week, was age 24 months up until age 60. So that's our 2-year-olds up until age 5. You can obviously go beyond that if you operate or care for children over that age. It is an approximate and it does need to be whole numbers. So just remember, these are the questions the ministry are asking from you. This is not just an InfoCare thing. This is the way that the ministry require you to respond and answer questions in the census. Click continue, and Matt is now included in our census week. Now, Milos, you will see that we've got in the whether worked column or not, he did not work. So this could be a staff member that was in our employment in the last 12 months. They did not work census week. So we do have to answer a few questions, but we can actually exclude them because they did not actually physically work census week. To do that, we're clicking on his name, and we again have the gender, staff activity of the return for this week. A staff member may have multiple roles. We're actually going to say exclude from return. So we just need to click exclude, and that's all we need to do. And you'll see that he is no longer included in the return. Okay, we have a couple more staff members to get through before we submit. Select the next staff member. I'm going to say this person had 2 roles. Click continue, and again we work through and answer the questions. Yes, they are paid for the role, they are permanently appointed, and yes, this is the questions to their main job title, which is they are an ECE teacher engaged in the education and care of children. Because she has 2 roles in this service, we will have to answer some more questions below pertaining to her separate question. So this is saying, for a starting teacher, please answer the following both questions. Has this person ever worked permanently in ECE or home-based? Yes or no? So this person was a new teacher that started at our service this year, hence why the ministry would like these questions to be answered. Has this person come directly from another ECE service? Yes or no? Here are our contact times again. Just remember, it has to be within the child's attended hours. It cannot be outside of this. Even if the staff member physically worked outside of those hours, for the purpose of census week, it has to be matching that or lesser than. So I'm going to say this staff member started at 9 every day, and they were only employed until 3 o'clock. And you'll notice again that I am shortening that. I don't need the colons and the double O's. Now here is the question regarding her second role census week, which was her senior management role. Is she paid for this service? Is she permanently appointed? And is she working full-time in this role? 25 hours or more is considered full-time. So I'm going to select no to that particular question. So how many hours did she work during return week? Just remember the hints are on your screen. And it does say, please round this up to the nearest whole hour. Okay, I'm going to say that this staff member worked, and it could have been 45 hours that week. Here is my age, because we do have your birth date populated in the employee menu. So we can easily select the age band applicable. And we're going to say that she worked with age 3 months old. Just remember, it's the average number of children or the most common age group of children that they worked with census week. So I'm going to say all the way up to 24 months and continue. She is now included. We have 2 more to do. We've already excluded Roland, but we're just going to do Primrose now. And we're going to say Primrose has a support role. Continue. Are they paid for this role at your service? And it could be that they're not actually paid at your service. It could be another ECE another organisation that pays this person directly. They may be permanently appointed. And is it full-time? I'm going to select no. How many hours did they work during return week? I'm going to say they worked 25 and continue. So that staff member is now included as well. And we've got our very last person in the list to complete. Yes, and continue. Has a bachelor's degree. There's our ethnicities. If you want to select some more, as we've said, you can. And then just answer the right questions pertaining to the staff member. Our contact times. I'm going to say 8:30. 9:30 one day. Just remember the actual start times should be exact if it is shorter than, but not greater than. And we're going to say that she went home on this day at 15:30. Well, she didn't actually leave. She probably worked until 5. But again, the last child went home at 1600. Hence, that is the maximum hours that we can select. How many hours did she work census week? I'm going to say 35. And the age band and the age of the children. I'm going to say this staff member worked with our over 2s all the way up to age 5. Continue. And we now have all of our staff included or not included, as the case may be for some of the staff on here. And we are now asking, by submitting this ECE return, you confirm that all data contained in this return is correct for the beginning on the specified date. Do you want to continue? If we select yes, that will be automatically submitted to Eli. However, if you did need to go back at any point, just remember to click the back button and you can go back and all of the answers that you had saved thus far will be finished. So your ECE return has been submitted to the Ministry of Education. There is nothing further you need to do. However, if you have made a mistake in your ECE return, you can edit. So even after you do finish this, you still can go back and edit it and resubmit to the Ministry if you need to. So it's just a matter again, reports, MOE reports, ECE return and census. And because you have already populated all of the questions, even though we have submitted, we can click continue and you can then proceed and change the answer that potentially you had incorrect in your first submission, make any changes in here and complete it by clicking continue and resubmitting your ECE return. A copy of this will always be kept in your utilities menu. Under file download, you will see your ECE return file in here and the date and time you selected submit to the ministry. You can click on this at any point and here are the questions that you did answer for your staff members. Okay, thank you so much for coming on this journey with us. Good luck with your ECE return and ka kite. Have a great day.